Is it time to start the Ole Miss Lady Rebels hosting conversation for March Madness? We talked to Brantley Sanderson all about that.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Now it's the #1 sports podcast network in America. That is because of fans like you taking in content like this, and we will never not be appreciative of that. On today's show, we are going to get to know the Lady Rebels. Can Coach Yo's unit make it in as a host into March Madness? It's February, so we got to talk to Brantley Sanderson about the Lady Rebs and what is coming down the track. All of this and more on today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube. And a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is, and that is your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Brantley, one thing's interesting. Is this the basketball team that finally gets to host a first and second round game in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, that's a big hump to get over, right? And that's about the only thing that they haven't accomplished as they've really ascended over the past few years. So the good news is I think this is Coach Yo's best team she's had. They're not just the most talented on paper, but they're 19-4 through 23 games, which I think is the best start under her. They're ranked number 13 in the country. So, do the math. That should be a 3-4 seed. So I think they've definitely got what it takes. They've got the star power. They've got the discipline, and they've been tested. It's crazy to think that March Madness is next month. But they've really she didn't take an easy schedule this year. And of course the SEC is, a grind as always. But I think they have a really good shot of hosting.
Yeah, if you look at the schedule coming up this month, I think LSU's still on there. A road game at South Carolina is on there. There's some difficult basketball games that they need to navigate. And for whatever reason, the net just doesn't seem to like what they're doing. You look at the net ranking, it doesn't match what the record is. I don't know, maybe there's too many quad 4 games. Which one of those games do you think is a real candidate for Coach Yo to kind of get Ole Miss over the hump in?
Well, let's talk about that week. I was just looking at the schedule, and because of the weather and having to reschedule some games, I want you to listen to this week that they have, okay? On February the 15th, they play at number 16 Kentucky. 2 days later, they host number 19 Tennessee. 2 days later, they host number 5 LSU. 2 days later, they play at number 3 South Carolina. That's 4 games in 7 days against top 16 or top 17 competition. So Coach Yo had tweeted the other day that it's like the old Big East, the SEC this year. They've already had some big wins. They've got 2 top 5 wins so far this year. They beat Vandy last week in Birmingham. They were ranked number 5. It was only the second time they've lost all year. They also beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma at the time. I think Oklahoma was ranked number 5. And last week they beat South Carolina. So, and came within 3 points at Texas, who I think is one of the best teams in the country. So do they have what it takes? Yes. Am I worried that they're going to run out of gas at some point during that week? That's really hard. I think, if you can get 2 of those 4 games, that really positions you well, not only for NCAA tournament, but SEC tournament.
Yeah, it's really interesting. What do we need to know? We know this team is balanced. Talk about 1 or 2 of the star players for the Ole Miss Lady Rebels team this year that everybody needs to pay attention to, especially when that week gets upon us.
Yeah, well, you can't talk about this team without talking about Cotie McMahan. She is averaging, I think, about 20 points a game. My opinion, I think she is the best all-around player in the history of Ole Miss women's basketball. And I know there's been some good players,
Mm-hmm.
I know Peggy and Jennifer Gillum have a building named after them. Arminty Price, who I was with, was in the WNBA for many years. But I think Cotie, out of all of them, has the best all-around game. She plays 1 through 5. She's built like a rugby player, and when she gets the ball and goes to the hole, you're not going to stop her. Her body control is incredible. Her shot is so smooth. So again, it all starts with her. I think they have probably like a big 3, but what they really need is a big 4. They've got a post player, Christeen Iwuala, who's having her best season of her career. She came into the season, you could just tell the physical transformation, worked really hard in the off season, and it's really showing. I think it's probably been a couple of years since they've had this kind of a low post scoring threat. So because of that, they do a lot of inside out, get the ball in the middle, don't shoot a lot of threes. But I think what they really need is a couple of shooters to step up. I'm not saying they need to hit, 3 or 4 or threes a game or be like Patton Pinkins, but hitting 2 to 3 unexpected threes from someone per game, I think is when they get really, really good. Because, these margins against these tough teams are so small. The other player that I wanted to mention, Sira Thienou is a returning player. We talked about her last year when she was a freshman. She kind of had a slow start to the year, but it seems like she's really gotten comfortable and is coming on where she left off last year. The player I think that really needs to step up is Latasha Lattimore. She is a post player. She's about 6'4", 6'5", but she's got a really great shot. She can attack off the dribble, and her defense is just incredible. I think she might be averaging like 2 or 3 blocks a game. So, because of that, their lineup is really big. I think every starter is 6'1" and above. So they match up really well with those tough physical teams like Texas and South Carolina and LSU. And again, I wouldn't say that this team is a great 3-point shooting team, maybe not even a good 3-point shooting team. But it doesn't mean that they don't have good shooters on the team. So I think if they have a game where they shoot, 35% from 3, they make 4 or 5, that puts them over the hump in these really close games.
All right. When we come back, we are going to continue to drill down on this team and maybe the expectations moving over the next couple of weeks for these girls. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukelich and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
All right. Hiring isn't just about finding somebody willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background that can actually help your business move forward. And you want candidates that match what you're looking for? Indeed sponsored job, that is the move, because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match quality candidates by boosting that job listing to the people that fit your specific criteria like skills, qualifications, and location. That's what I like about Indeed. You can get specific and target exactly what you need and want. It saves time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches, and with sponsored jobs, you can get seen by candidates who are actually a fit for what you do. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to the Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners to this show will get $75 in sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring. Do it the right way with Indeed. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part has not always been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without all of the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I pulled up the Game Time app, picked an upcoming NBA game in Orlando, actually, and had tickets locked in within minutes. Zone deals absolutely stand out. You get to choose the section, and Game Time actually picks the seats, and you save a bundle. Great last-minute options as well, with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. And remember, it's gametime.co, not gametime.com. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on the video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcaster you're listening to and give it a 5-star review. Costs absolutely nothing, keeps all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month to $50 per year. Go to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com or check the link down in the show notes to learn more. You can catch Dalen Flowers, Corey Burton, and Mike Huseman available in the all-access tier of that as well. So, Brantley, we're coming up on the next couple of weeks, which are going to be very important for hosting. Tell people what type of basketball this team plays if they're not familiar with the Lady Rebs.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what you're getting with Coach O's teams, right? It all starts on defense, and that's really what they hang their hat on. I think the thing that stands out most to me this year is just how physical they are. Again, having that inside scoring presence that maybe was lacking a little bit in years past. But it's just a fun brand of basketball. You know, when they're playing really good defense, when they're rebounding, they're getting out in transition, they share the ball well. These players are just really, really skilled. And I've been really impressed really all season how quickly they seem to come together because, you know, several of them came from the transfer portal. I think only 2 starters returned. So as good as they played, I still think they can, you know, play even. Their ceiling is much higher. I think they can play even better. It's really about their offensive chemistry. I think that's the key for this team. They're definitely, like I said earlier, they're definitely a better shooting team than I think some of Coach O's previous teams. So they put up more points. You know, a few weeks ago when they beat Mississippi State in Starkville, they scored, I think, 92 points. So, and that's not the first time they've hit over 90 in an SEC game, if I'm not mistaken. So you're gonna see some good offense in addition to the good defense that you always see with this team.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about it. I think it was either Coach O's first or second year. There was a game against South Carolina where South Carolina won like 100-20, just some ridiculous number. It's hard to believe everything has kind of just keeps leveling up and getting there. And now Coach O has these ladies at the point where they can be mentioned in the same breath with South Carolina, and that's a credit to her.
Yeah, I mean, this is her 8th year, and, you know, it takes time to build a program from scratch in the SEC. And, you know, just talking about Coach O for a second, can you tell me another person who's been a better ambassador for our university? I mean, she's just been so incredible especially over the past few weeks, you know, during the winter storm and everything. You know, you can just tell her players are bought in. they respond to her. What's funny is I've noticed, like, she's obviously very fiery, very personable, very intense on the court. But she hasn't had to do that as much this year. It seems like this team is just like, she has her DNA stamped on this team. Like I said, I mean, we couldn't ask for a better cheerleader for not only the program, but the university in Oxford as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Brantley, for stopping by. We will talk to you next week as that crazy week that is coming up around February 15th kicks off. So take care, buddy, and we will talk to you next week, man.
That sounds good. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy. All right. Thanks again for checking out the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We will continue to talk about Coach O and women's basketball all through up until the March Madness run that is coming up. Make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you get all the episodes as well. We're on all the social channels, so check that out as well. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get your Locked On Ole Miss ad-free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedonolemiss.supercast.com to join the club. For those of you on video, we're going to send you on over to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure that your second listen is Locked On College Football. Hotty toddy, everybody, and we will talk to you later. Take care.